Latinos Out Loud podcast. Latinos. Yeah, that's what this is. Latinos Out Loud.
Yo, Dominican Independence, yo! Yes! Feliz Dia de la Independencia Dominicana. For those that don't speak Spanish, you know what I just said. Happy Independence Day. It is February 27th, 2025. In case you don't know the year, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's your friend, tu amiguita, Rachel La Loca here in NYC, the city that I love so much. Concrete jungle where the sueños are made of. You know what I'm saying? And this is another episode of Latinos Out Loud. LOL, if you like acronyms like I do. Well, we're on location at this amazing restaurant here on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Tasca is the place to be right now. I'm so inspired. This decor is so Latino. It's Caribeño. It's Spaniard. It's just everything. Having been to Spain, you know, I went to Salamanca. It was beautiful. So I'm just feeling so invigorated and just really thankful to be in this city that's so eclectic and where you can really just get a little bit of everything when you want. Speaking of, I have experienced so many amazing things in the last couple of weeks. I don't even know how to summarize, but I'm going to give you the abridged version as best as I can. The Cliff Notes, the Monarch Notes, dating myself. Y'all know what it is. Those book reports, they were sometimes too much to handle, so you just have to do the Cliff Notes version. Sorry to all my professors that, you know, the book reports weren't up to snuff, but I did what I could. Okay, guys, the other day I went to Broadway Con, you know, like Comic-Con. Yeah, Broadway Con. It was where all the enthusiasts of Broadway and theater communed together. We were at the Marriott Marquis in Midtown. You guys know that amazing hotel with the elevators that go faster than the speed of light? Yeah, not for the faint of heart. But it was so cool to see all these great panels and all these people dressed up as their favorite Broadway characters. Yeah, the cats were out, the da-na-na-na-na, you know what I mean? Memories all alone. We're not gonna sing on this episode. I can't even sing, although I can in the shower. Everybody was there just really taking in the breath of Broadway outside of the stage. But I did get to see one stage that I loved so much being a part of, and that was a panel discussion with former guest of Latinos Out Loud, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Yeah, I'm a name drop real quick. Hey, Lin, what's up? Lin Sanity. There are sirens passing by. This is New York City. As long as they don't stop right here looking for me. I paid my taxes, almost. Okay, listen, Lin-Manuel Miranda was in the building being interviewed by Frank DeLella. You guys know him. He's host of On Stage on New York One. Shout out to Spectrum. And it was so amazing because he surprised us with performances by some of his faves. You know, he was part of that improv group, and the Freestyle Love Supremes were in the building, and they performed their favorite Broadway hits, many of which Lin wrote. So shout out to Lin-Manuel Miranda, the super brilliant, amazing talent of our time. It's really incredible just to see these things that he's doing. He's like Mr. Disney right now, writing all the music for these incredible films. So shout out to Broadway Com. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for giving me my press credentials to cover. Had a wonderful time. Speaking of Broadway, I'm gonna geek out real quick. I've been like nerding out recently, okay, because I also got to see Little Shop of Horrors. We're not going to sing on this episode. We're not. Don't make me sing. I'm talking to myself. Okay, we went to go see Little Shop of Horrors. You guys know the movie about the plant that eats people, Feed Me Seymour. It was so good, you guys. I highly recommend it. It was a Valentine's Day gift from me to my boo. Okay, boo. Yes, you know who you are. You're right here. I'm talking to you. And... it was really so amazing. We were right there, first row, orchestra. I'm not gonna like be a spoiler because I really want you guys to go check out the show, but like the plant really comes alive and like you feel like you're just so immersed in the show. It's so much fun. If you like the movie, if you like the Broadway version, then I highly recommend you go see it. With these Broadway shows, it's like sometimes you gotta catch them while they're here because they disappear. Bars. Also got to see Hell's Kitchen, but I'm gonna save that recap for another episode that's coming to you really soon where I get to interview the writer of Hell's Kitchen. You know, the Alicia Keys musical that recently took home all these awards. Yeah, so stay tuned for that episode. I have so many treats for you LOLeros, including one today. I am interviewing someone who I have had the pleasure of meeting, seeing in action. I get to see him at events, and he's just always talking to the people. The people love him. So as soon as I met him, I'm like, we need to have you on Latinos Out Loud. His name is Jeff Garcia, and he's the executive director of Nightlife, AKA the Nightlife Mayor of New York City, and he is right here next to me. Hola, Señor Garcia.
Hola, hola, hola. I'm at awe of you. You know,
Oh,
your
stop.
energy, tu energía, tu positivity. So
Thank
I
you.
want to see if I can transform myself into Jeffrey El Loco to kind of match it. All right. So, but I know there's going to be moments I'm going to have to be very professional as well.
Oh,
here.
okay.
So-
Well, I will bottle up some of my energy. I'll put it in one of these amazing jars that we see here at Tasca. I will give it to you, and then you can just unscrew it and open it up whenever you need.
Absolutely.
But let me comment on your energy too, because I always see you, and you are entre la gente. Now, I just introduced you and formally gave your job title, but I don't think that really does what you do justice. So could you tell everyone, the LOLeros, exactly what you do? Like, what does your day-to-day look like as the nightlife mayor of New York City?
Well-
The city that never sleeps, by the way. Do you ever sleep?
Very little, very little. But that's just by nature. Well, first want to thank your audience. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Also, nuestros dominicanos, feliz día de la independencia dominicana.
¡Wepa! Okay, not yet.
La verdad que es un orgullo para mí to represent our community, right? So what does Jeffrey Garcia do? I'm the executive director, like you said, of the Office of Nightlife.
Yeah.
We're a non-enforcement liaison to support the nightlife industry. Our office recently, almost a year and a couple of months now, moved into the Agency of Small Business Services, which now we can provide so much more services to our small businesses, because our nightlife businesses in the city, our bars, restaurants, are small businesses here in the city. As a matter of fact, 26,000 of them.
26,000?
Yeah, so it's a
And
big
you know
part
every
of our
single
city.
one of them. Wow.
Well, that's the goal, to meet every single one and to really, or at least get it out there through all these different means, through podcasts like this, through social media, to let people know that there is an office out there that supports their needs, right?
Wow.
And that they can reach out to us, and we'll be there for them 24/7 to give them the support that they need.
Wow, so what does that support look like? I mean, I know as a small business owner, there are things that I struggle with, mainly like administrative stuff and, how to run this business. Like, I can provide the content all day, but that's just me. Like, what are some of the challenges that these small business owners in the nightlife industry face?
Well, I'm going to go back now to just like the area of small business, right?
Yeah.
The agency, does so much, right?
Yeah.
From job recruitment, job placement, we have these centers in different boroughs that, business owners can go to, and also folks looking for work. So, the agency does amazing work. The part of the agency that I work with directly is called the NYC Best Team, right? They do free compliance advisory work. They also help businesses navigate the permitting process here in New York, which in many cases, when they reach out to us, right, and we get involved from the very beginning, say you want to open up a business here in New York, right, and you go to SBS and you reach out, and you say, listen, I'm looking to open up a bar,
Yeah.
right? I haven't started negotiating with a landlord yet, but guess what we can do? We can provide free commercial lease assistance, right, through attorneys that we have, right? We also can provide navigation get through the permitting process with DOHMH, Department of Health, Department of Building. You'll hear me see acronyms. The city loves acronyms for
I love
everything.
acronyms.
Yes, LOL.
Yeah, LOL, Latinos
Right.
Out Loud,
Yes.
all the
So-
time. Yeah.
So we help you navigate all these processes in the city. And like I said, in most cases, we could cut your opening time in half. Now, obviously for a bar, you have to deal, or when you got to go for a liquor license, you got to deal with the community boards as well. So that's a process. But it's about you having the correct information on what these processes are that can really help you, right? You can then, and then now, one of the things that happened that we really were a big part of that in the state is that they did temporary liquor permits. So now you can get your liquor license sometimes between 30 and 45 days, a temporary liquor license, where you used to have to wait months.
I knew this. I knew this because I stumbled upon this on the website because we do pop-up events, pop-up podcasts. And I was like, oh, what are we gonna do? I'm funnier as people drink. I get funnier and funnier.
So do
So,
I.
right, as a comedian, like we like that part of an event. And so that is great even for event producers as well. And the fact that you equip these like small business owners, it just sounds like you have a lot of resources that, I mean, I'm glad that you're on this show because you out there, are you listening to this? This is for free. Okay, so tell us more. So what happens if there's like a small business owner and they come to you, you know, like what's the process like? I mean, do they have to fill something out or do they have to be some sort of member or how can
No,
they take
these
action?
are all free services, right? That the city provides. However, one thing I always tell people: it's not free. You pay for it with your taxes. So use these resources.
for that.
Use them. It's
Yeah.
important, right? Know that these resources are there available to you, right? And that's where your tax dollars go to, right? So,
So true.
obviously, specifically to me, when a business owner reaches out to me that they're going through an issue, let's say a complaint, right? A noise complaint from a neighbor or something like that. We have resources for that too. It's called MEND, right? It's a free mediation program that we have in conjunction with the Office of Conflict Resolution, right? They have on staff professional mediators, right? That can get involved, right? As long as both parties are willing to speak, meaning the complainant and the business owner, and figure out solutions. I think, and I say this all the time, and maybe because I just love talking to them, I think when people talk to each other, they figure things out.
Can you guys mediate between a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old by any chance? Can I get some help with the kids or is that not something?
I never win that mediation.
Okay,
I
so
never,
should I just take the L on
I
that?
I have a 10, 8, and 4-year-old, and I have a 32-year-old that I don't win that one either sometimes. So.
Oh gosh, okay. Wow,
But
you are
they're my
so
kids.
busy.
They get whatever they want.
I love that. And listen, kids, I know you're listening to Mommy's podcast. Don't listen to him. You cannot get everything that you want, okay? So, okay, there have been so many interesting notches on your career belt. So, but as I was reading your bio, the one common denominator is that you have been serving this community from Jump Street, literally, maybe 21 Jump Street, because you started out as a cop. Right?
And doing undercover work.
Look at that. So you
So-
were a detective. Tell us
Yes.
about that notch on your belt and like what led you to where you are now. And I'm sorry, it's a 3-parter. I know I ask a lot of
No,
questions.
it's okay.
I mean, I interview people all the time. But like, does any of that experience play into what you're doing today as executive director of Nightlife?
100%.
Tell us
100%.
more.
All my life's experiences, helped me from the moment growing up. My mom was migrated here from the Dominican Republic, with no family, by herself. Moved in with a cousin, I think it was, or a friend in the Bronx. Eventually met my dad, had me, single mom, lived in Washington Heights on Academy and Post.
Right.
Very, very tough block at one
Yeah.
time. And it was a small studio, 1 bedroom. Like we had 1 bed. My mom, my brother Jesse, who is an amazing human being, the best person on this planet that I know.
Love that.
And we all lived in this one apartment. We were on, public assistance, food stamps. I remember, I always tell the stories. I remember my mother giving me money to go buy milk, like little booklets, because back then it was a booklet
It's a
that you
rip
would
out
get,
coupon.
right? And you'd have to go to the store, and I'd be like, all right, and I would wait till like everybody leaves to go pay first, because I was embarrassed, right? But you didn't realize that everybody else was in the same boat.
Yeah.
Everybody in the neighborhood, needed that help. But my mom, it was such a fighter. She taught me everything I know, right? Hard worker, like determined to be successful. She went back to school, became a teacher's assistant, worked for the DOE until she passed, and she worked with special needs kids at PS 128 in Washington Heights on 165th Street. And it was amazing. Like, she loved working with these kids. She loved when I would come, once a year to talk to the kids, to have her police detective son
She was so
talk to the
proud.
kids. Oh, she was immensely proud of both of us, me and my brother. My brother, obviously went off to college and then, lived in Massachusetts. And then he was always wanting to, like, be on his own and do things, So obviously, I stayed behind, became a police officer, something I've wanted to do since I was a kid, followed in my cousin, who was like my idol, when he became a cop in the mid-'80s, So I was like, that's what I want to do,
Wow.
So my mom was very proud of that. She, and I rose through the ranks in the NYPD from police officer, starting off in the transit police department before we merged in '95. Then we merged with PD. I was able to go into the Organized Crime Control Bureau, which doesn't exist
Ooh,
anymore, but
okay.
it was basically the Narcotics Bureau. And I did undercover work for many years at all levels. And from there, I became a third grade detective, second grade detective, and a first grade detective, which is, as one dear friend of mine who's in heaven, Sonny, said, that it's like being knighted. It's like that much of a prestigious rank within the police department, being a first grade detective. At the time when I got promoted, it was only about 160 out of like 40,000 cops at the time. So I was very honored to, and that was all done through hard work. So I then retired in 2014. Right?
So you put in how many years?
20 years.
20
20 years.
years of serving.
Yes.
So interestingly enough, you were a knight and now you work in nightlife.
Life. Well, I like that. I'm going to start spelling it like that, right? Night life. Right?
Yeah,
Like
you are a knight
You just
of
gave me.
nightlife. Okay?
I just got a cue.
You can have that one for free, okay, Jeff
Yes,
Garcia?
got it.
Okay, so can we talk about that era of your life? Because I wonder, did you ever think that you'd be doing what you're doing today? And were you like in the nightclubs, like as a detective? Like, where?
Well, funny enough, during my undercover work time, a lot of the work that I did was, because I did all levels of that work,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of it had to do with going out and
Like
being,
pretending you were just like a patron in regular street
pretending
clothes.
I was in the drug world.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Tell us more.
that was very interesting times. It was fun. It was, but it was obviously very dangerous work, right?
Yeah.
And it was being an undercover is being an actor. You had to act. You had to play a role. When I used to do buy and bust, I used to have to play the role of a drug user. And that was interesting too, because here I am, this healthy guy. So I had to transform myself many times. Do many different little tricks to try and look like I was used.
You had to know the tricks of the trade. You had to keep your ear to the street and know how
Absolutely.
to act. Because you see that in the movies all the time. It's like, yo, yeah, he's a narc. Yo, he's a narc. Yo,
Yeah.
50, 50, lahara, whatever.
I knew all those words. And that was an important time in my life. I love the work that I do. I think we made a real big impact. If you remember the 90s here, the 80s and 90s, Washington Heights was drug-ridden, the Bronx, places like Watson Avenue, so you look at that now and where we've come, and I think there was a lot of good work that came out of it, So I'm proud of, the work that I did personally and how I did my job with integrity and professionalism. So I think that that's what taught me throughout my life, how to manage things, right? Being in those difficult situations and how to get out of things, right? Which then led me to become an entrepreneur once I retired.
So tell us about that.
And not only because I love the nightlife, obviously, when you're young, you love nightlife, right? But I just love the hospitality industry. There was a restaurant that I used to go to that a friend of mine owned. He's still there on East 2nd Street. and
Elias.
he's from the Heights. Married an Italian woman from Rome, and they own a wonderful space. And I used to go there 4 to 5 times a week, and I just loved the way people would just come in and the way he greeted them and how he made people feel. And I just really enjoyed that part of it, like
Experiential.
being with people, recommending something, seeing how they love it, right?
Making people happy.
Making people happy, making people have experiences, right? So it was something that always like stuck to me. Like, I want to do this. And I remember he would tell me, "You sure you want to do this? You sure you want to do this?" Most people that own restaurants will tell you, "You sure you want to do this?" Because it is hard work, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of those businesses that you have to be there.
On site, like there's just
you have to be there on site,
working remotely.
especially in the very beginning,
Uh-huh.
because you have to really get that foundation right, if you want long-term success. You look at, the industry is tough. A lot of these businesses don't make it past a year
You
or
see it
two.
all the time. They come and go. The space.
But that's why,
I love
circling
that
back,
place.
that's why it's important to reach out to SBS.
I love the way you just brought us back home.
Yes.
Okay, right. Like we see this revolving door. I'm on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. There was this amazing Argentinian grill that I used to go to all the time. And one day I wake up and it's like for sale and like the lease or whatever. People, it's like for rent. And I'm like, wait, it was just here yesterday. Where am I going to get my skirt steak from? I'm really upset about that. So like, if there's a business struggling, what are some of the resources that your department, your agency has to help people? Can you help them get out of a restaurant rut?
Obviously, yes, they can reach out to us. We have advocates that can help with that. We also have Fund Finder, right, which helps people navigate looking for capital, right? There are moments that we have grants, right, available as well.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of we connected with local CDFIs, right, which are local small banks, right, in community banks that can give you low interest loans, right? About a year and a half ago, we did a big, loan up to $250,000 with very low interest, long, many years of term. So made it very accessible in terms of monthly payments. So we do this through Funds Finder at SBS, and there's always something going on with that, in terms of financial funds available to you.
So I'll tell you one of the problems that I'm having right now, just because you're here and you may have some answers for me and other small business owners that are suffering. I have been a small business owner, let's see, for the duration of my oldest son's life, so 9 years, almost 10 years. Wow, almost double digits. But my bank account is not in the double digits, okay? And it really should be. I sometimes struggle, like, before I go to sleep at night, I'm like, does the output of my day equate the input? And the answer is always no. There's always so much more work and so little that I see from it. Now, I have not stepped off the hamster wheel. I am still on it, like water, now I'm good, every single day. But like, how does a small business in your field scale its business? Like, I'm struggling right now in scaling my business. I want more clients. I want to produce more photo shoots, more video shoots. And I'm out here like you talking to everybody like, hi, Rachel La Loca, how are you? Podcaster, actress, writer, comedian. I do bar mitzvahs, I do weddings, I can do it all. But like, are there any actionable tools that your agency can provide on how to scale a small business?
Well, listen, one of the things, and I think you're doing it right, is obviously getting out there, using all these different tools that we have at our disposal now, like social media, right, is a big, big tool for businesses. You see so many promote on Instagram, and for the most part, it's free, right? Obviously, you can, hire folks to do that as well. But if you're crunching the numbers, that makes it difficult. But definitely, I think that folks need to reach out to us at SBS, and we could look for resources, right, that we can help them out. Again, there's many things that we can come up with and talk. And I think that's one of the main things that business owners need to do is just talk to other business owners, because sometimes that light bulb will go off. It's not that easy to always get people inside your doors. But be passionate about what you do. Always give a good product. And I think, when you do that, I think people will come and people will support you.
Yeah, that's really key. You just said something interesting about like always putting your best foot forward and always being consistent, delivering a quality product. Okay, so I see you at so many events. Like I mentioned earlier, I saw you at the ribbon cutting for Happy Monkey. I saw you at the New York Liberty Parade when they won the championships. Woohoo, Liberty! Which I bought so many mint green stuff since that day. It's kind of a disease I have now. I have mint greenitis.
Is it mint green? You know, that day I was confused. Is it teal? Is it mint green? Like, what color is it really?
Whatever, let's just call it the Liberty color.
Let's call it the Liberty. Let's call it the champion's color.
Hasta los Jordans. Like, I just
Yes.
can't stop. Now I'm like, I may paint the walls, New York Liberty colors. But I see you at all these amazing events. Like, that's part of your day to day. Like, how does Jeff Garcia, or how do you figure out which events to go to? Like, or what's your goal when you go to these events? What's your agenda?
Outreach. The best thing, the number one thing I focus on in going to places is outreach, is letting people know what I do and how my office can help them, right? How SBS can help them. People, oh, do you, like my wife all the time, do you have to go to that? Well, the thing is, when people invite you, like they expect you to go. You know, I work for the city. I represent city government. I represent the mayor. You know, when we go out there, I represent our agency. We have an amazing commissioner at SBS, Dinosaur Gross, who's just wonderful. So when people invite us places, this is who we represent. So we should go. We should show up, right, and tell them how and what we do, right, and how we can help them. And you know, I enjoy it. Other than that, I also enjoy it. I enjoy talking to people.
Love that.
And it's hard because there are plenty of events every day. So you have to pick and choose. But you got to try and make sure you show up.
Yeah.
And I think that in life, you know, just showing up is half the battle.
Well, I have to say, I have such a profound respect for you. I really think that I'm talking to a clone right now. I don't know how many of you exist, but there's no way possible that, like, I see you at all these things. You are a dad. You are a business owner. Give us a little insight on balance. How do you achieve balance in life?
Sacrifice sleep, unfortunately. You know, I usually say this, and, you know, like, people ask me, oh, you know, you don't get any sleep? I said, no. And my brother always tells me, Jeff, no, you have to get rest. I said, listen, man, you get rest when you die. Man. You know, like, you know, you got to live life. And the first thing I do is I'm a morning person. I love waking up in the morning. I absolutely love waking up. It means that, you know, God gave me another day.
Yes.
And I
Amen.
think we all need to really, like, look at that and be like, yes. And like, I wake up in the morning, my kids, we're all happy, we're all jumping around, like, and I kind of like instilled that in them. You know what I mean? Like, listen, we gotta be happy, right? I often tell people, you know, in Spanish, like, you know, ¿y cómo tú estás? Yo, coño, yo estoy tan bien que estoy asustado. You know, because I feel that, you know, I have to project that things are good to people, right? You know, and
It's
what we do,
infectious.
what I do, I think that,
contagious.
you know, I need to tell people that things are good. Now, this is what we need to do to make it better, right? And what I do, imagine every day, oh, how are things? Oh, you know, it's going to shit. No, it
Like
doesn't
Debbie
work.
Downer syndrome.
No,
No,
absolutely
it doesn't
not.
work. Yeah.
You have to have that positive outlook on life. But it's not just because of what I do, it's just the way I've been my whole life. You know, I always feel that there's a resolution to something. I always feel that we can find common ground, you know, even with folks that you don't feel that you do. So always very positive.
Love that. Okay, Jeff, I'm a woman. I'm a minority. There is a negative stigma because I've heard it. I've been on the receiving end of it in becoming certified as a, tell me the acronym, WMBE?
MWBE.
MWBE. Yeah, that. Okay, so people are always like, oh, it's so hard, it's unattainable, you're gonna need help, good luck with that. Like, these are the things that have been told to me. Now that I've been in business for over a year, like, what do I have to do? How do you become certified? Is it attainable? How do we do this?
All right. First, you know, again, because we love acronyms in the city, it's Minority Women Business Enterprise.
Got
All right.
it.
So MWB for short. So what can I tell you about it? It's a process. Let's
Okay.
say that. You know, and you got to get that process right. right? You want to make sure that the certifications are going to the people that deserve it, right? The women, the minority-owned businesses, right? Because there are a lot of just like you hear that, there's also a lot of scammers out there that use folks to say, hey, I'm a minority business, because I have this person in my business, and then that person really has no authority there, doesn't sign checks, so was just used to be a prop for that business, and then now they're getting contracts, and it's not going to the right people. And this is a big deal for our community. This really became prevalent, during COVID. Businesses, a lot of our local restaurants were able to get contracts from the city to do meals. And now our community started understanding what this is about, doing business with the city, doing business with the state, now doing business with the federal government. And to be able to do that, you need to get these certifications, right? And there's a lot of money in this world, in the contracting world and working with the city. And why should it not go to our local businesses in our community? This is how you create generational wealth in our communities.
Yes, which we need to do a better job at. Yes. Trying to create this empire for my kids so that they don't have to work as hard as I do.
Well, you have the support of SBS, so let's get you certified.
Yes. Okay, that's so awesome. You mentioned something really interesting too, that there are over 300,000 workers in the hospitality business here in New York City.
Yes.
You have a lot of people under your constituency. How do you manage that? And tell us more about this industry.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how many people were.
Oh yeah. Well, like I had said before, there were 26,000 nightlife businesses. And what consists of nightlife? Bars, restaurants, clubs, performance venues, obviously, the hospitality industry as well. Yeah. And within that ecosystem are over 300,000 folks that work in this city, in that space, right? So it's a big employer here in this city, and important. That means many of our family members probably work in this industry.
A lot of my actor friends are in this industry because the actors can do what they got to do, audition, and then they work at night. They do what they got to do for showbiz during the day, and then they're
what does it
tables
mean?
At night.
Absolutely. And what does it mean for our city? It's a $35 billion industry. It means $700 million in tax revenue for our city. Wow. That goes towards schools and many other things, right? But this is why this industry is so important. This is why our office was so important that it was created, right, under Mayor de Blasio, and now has, 6.5 years in existence, and now we're in SBS to continue helping, supporting businesses. That's why this office was created, to support that industry that for years felt that it was targeted, felt that it was under siege, right, by over-enforcement. And my job is to bridge that world, right? Of the agencies, of NYPD. And I think that's why my experiences with NYPD, my experiences as a business owner, and I say that, because I got to be careful because my wife is the one that actually runs it. She's been running it since 2017 and doing a great job, and has subsequently opened up additional business. So she's working hard, right? And then my work in my advocacy role when I ran the Latino Restaurant Association. So all those 3 lanes really, really gave me good insight onto this role, right? And I feel that I'm really helping support this industry right now. And there's a lot of great stuff. One of the things that Mayor Adams did in late 2023, December of 2023, was introduce CURE, right? Which is Coordinating a Unified Resolution with Establishments. And what that did was take away the Giuliani-era March operations, where the cops and other agencies would come into your business on a late Friday night, in your peak times, and just, do an inspection of your business of all sorts, right? With the SLA and
what's the SLA?
State Liquor Authority.
Oh, okay.
And in most cases, you would come out of there with tens of thousands of dollars in fines.
Oh, wow. And
we understood that wasn't working. We were hurting businesses, and we should be helping them, right? So with CURE, we started an education-first approach. All right. But it doesn't mean that it's a free for all. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get your normal course of inspection from agencies, which is obviously what they need to do, right? Because we do need to keep New Yorkers safe.
Yeah.
But it means that on a Friday night, you're not going to just have cops rolling into your business, right, with all these agencies to try and look for fines to get you.
That's a
We're going to
terrible
educate them.
experience from the patient's
Absolutely.
perspective too. It's
No, and
scary.
business will lose money because then patrons will leave.
And
You
not
would have
go
a
back,
$200
right?
bill and leave because they're worried about
Oh,
these inspectors
snap.
coming in. So this education first approach is so important, right? And we're engaging with businesses, right? We are letting them know what they need to do to mitigate issues when they're happening, and that's being done in conjunction with the NYPD, right? So everybody, the ecosystem is coming together to help businesses, to help small businesses. This is what we need to make New York thrive, right?
Yeah. I can't believe you've only been around for 6.5 years. What did these poor business owners do before that?
Well, and, they relied on, things like the Hospitality Alliance, the Latino Restaurant Association, other advocacy groups to advocate for them, which is a lot of the great work that I did when I was there, too, at the Latino Restaurant Association, advocating for business, helping them navigate through COVID, finding money through the federal government, right, working with Ponce Bank in the Bronx.
Right.
Which is a local CDFI, that really we were able to get over $2 million to businesses, when I was at the Latino Restaurant Association. Let's make sure, I'm not including my role as, a lot of great work, all right? And I think we're in a better place now, and we're moving forward in a very positive direction.
Yeah, it just sounds like it's a no-brainer. Like your agency is a very integral part of this city.
Absolutely.
Keeping it thriving, keeping bellies full and happy.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you have shared so much information. I'm overwhelmed, but in a good way. And I hope that this was really informative to the LOLeros. I think you're going to be shifting some mindsets with this interview. But now I'd like to dial into a little more personal, Jeff Garcia, if you will. I know that there are some maybe young cops listening right now, or maybe people who want to enter the hospitality industry and don't know how to navigate or what to do with their college education. I know I was a really confused junior in college. I was taking as many liberal arts courses as I could until I established my major in business and my minor in Latino studies. But what are some words of advice that you would tell a young Jeff Garcia if he were standing right here in front of you, because he's listening? And the female version is listening too. They're all listening, and they need some advice from somebody who's attained so much success, and organically. Just hearing your career path, it just sounds like as if almost a fairy godmother was like, I'm going to whip this up for you, Jeff Garcia, and it's all going to happen like this. It sounds so strategic. Knowing what you know now, what are some words of advice that you have for that young person on the come up?
Well, as a police officer, having empathy, but also having integrity, right, in what you do, I think is so important, right? And, just go out there, be proud of what you do as a police officer. I was very proud, and I really enjoyed, the work that I did there. So enjoy the job. It's a great job. You're really helping people. You're making a difference. As an entrepreneur, stay true to it. Whatever your plan is, stay true to your plan, right? But you know what's another thing that I've learned throughout the years? Like, understand when something's not working, to change it, right? And if it's not working, maybe do a reset and start over, right? I think a lot of times, as an owner, you just want to, I got to keep going. And then before you know it, you put so much into this and it didn't work out. And then now you're like, what do I do?
What now?
Know when to pivot. Know when to pivot. It's so important to know when to pivot. And in life, just enjoy life. Wake up every morning, be happy to be alive again, and smile. And, any chance you get, say hello to people and just be nice, And, as a dear friend of mine from Brooklyn always says, spread love.
It's
Just
the
spread
Brooklyn
love.
way.
It's the Brooklyn way, but wave my
Okay.
hand. money making Manhattan.
I say that all the time to my kids. I'm like,
yes.
don't forget to spread love, okay?
Yes, absolutely. So, and I'm thankful to the so many people in my life that have helped me, family members, my kids. You know, I want to thank my wife for always putting up with me. You know, I'm not easy, but yeah, just you know, just be kind.
I love that. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing
Thank you.
this wealth of
Thank you.
information. I know we're equipping some business owners out
Yes.
there and some prospective business owners. Could you share the social handles that you'd like us to
Yes.
follow and the websites that we should be going to? Take your pens out, take your notes out,
Yes.
take your chisel, whatever you're going to write in.
Yes, go to the SBF's website. Go to the Nightlife IG is NYC Nightlife Gov. NYC Nightlife Gov. And if you need to reach us via email, go to nightlife@sbs.nyc.gov. All right. Listen, we answer our social. So if you want to reach us via social and Instagram message, do that and we'll get back to you. But please reach out to us. Don't ever believe, because I hear this all the time, that you're bothering. We're here to help. Bother us.
Love that. Well, thank you so much for being here, Jeff Garcia. Thank you to everyone behind the scenes, Eddie, Nyoman, Saiba, and of course, Jay, the owner of this amazing establishment.
Jay is amazing. And you know what? One of the reasons why I picked this place is because this area back in the 70s, 80s, you know, maybe even the late 60s, right? Used to be a very Latino influenced area. A lot of Dominicans, Cubans, Puerto Ricans. My dad and my aunt used to own a restaurant over here, two restaurants, El Yaque and Rancho Alegre.
Wow.
You know, so, and then Jay is doing a great job. I mean, he's elevated Latino food, Dominican food. There's a beautiful place. So I just love, you know, like Dominicans, we do it all. And that's another thing about, like, I know we didn't get to talk about this, but Dominicans right now in this city are like just doing such amazing things.
Speaking of which, yeah, I'm gonna rock my sash.
We are leading
my sash right now.
in the medical field. We are leading in government. So many people in government now, you know, that are Dominican. So really, really proud.
Yes, I am so proud to be Dominican. This sash, it's getting very dirty because I wear it every opportunity that I can, having served as an ambassador for the Dominican Day Parade a couple of years back. Thank you, Jay, owner of Tasca here. We're at 505 Columbus Avenue. Guys, check it out. Yeah, this is probably not on right. I'm going to ride out with the Guida. Happy Dominican Independence Day. LOLeros, don't be... Listen, you can also reach out to me. I also answer the DMs. So don't hold back. At We Are Latinos Out Loud. You can follow me at Rachel La Loca. You can also give us a call, 978 Latinos. We will answer the phone. Thank you so much for rocking out and happy Independence Day. Let's do this.
Dominicano soy.
Oye, de mi tierra, de las raíces. Yeah. Oh, yeah. On that note, we out.
It's the Latinos Out Loud podcast.